extravagant, simple, in the sense that they're not earning, although, of course, there are Brahmacharis who go out and distribute books and sometimes do fundraising, these things. I know when I joined the Krishna consciousness movement, that was our main activity, to go out and to distribute books. And then when I came to India, we would go out and try to make life members, try to enroll people as life members. So we spent a lot of time doing these kind of things to establish the Krishna consciousness movement. Over time, our movement has become more established, and we're more dependent on the congregation to maintain the temples. You know, in the beginning of our movement, we were all in the ashram, and so the people in the ashram were the ones that would go out and try to raise funds by different means, usually book distribution in the West, and in India it was life membership. So for some time it has been quite successful. We can see book distribution still goes on, and more, they often find the book distribution is being supported by the congregation. So the congregation help us to distribute books, and if you have that kind of congregation who are willing, they will give some donations to support the book distribution so that we can give the books at a lower price. And in this way the books can go out to more people. So as Bramachari, we do think about these things. We like to help. We like to go out for Sankirtan, go out for preaching. We don't want to just stay in the temple all the time. If you stay in the temple, then you can be, of course, nicely regulated. Have a nice regulated lifestyle. Every morning the temple program, every evening also artis, and so the whole lifestyle in the temple is regulated. But the thing is, living in the temple, we're not so much aware of what the outside world is like. And that's why it's necessary for us also to go out and preach, to go out and go around and try to distribute Krishna consciousness as best we can. Go and meet people, go and start programs and try to get groups of people who are interested and start bhakti brikshas. I was recently in Bengal and Orissa, and a number of the centers there in Bengal and Orissa, they were initially bhakti briksha centers. They had a few people interested, and they made a bhakti brikshas program, and then from that it grew and got more people, and they opened a small temple, and the temple continued to grow, and they were able to establish a nice big temple with many people. So these things happen. The beginning can be small, but Prabhupada said, go in like the needle and come out like the cloud. So you go in a small way, but come out in a big way. So the devotees, the brahmacharis, we dedicate ourselves to these kind of activities. I was in Bangalore, and there's a couple of brahmacharis there in Bangalore. They regularly go and travel around Canada because they're from the, of course, they're Radhanath Swami disciples, and they joined in Mumbai. But because they're from Kannada, they speak the language, so they were sent there to help preach in Karnataka. And they're regularly going out and traveling in different towns and even villages, wherever there are groups of devotees, to meet the people and to spend time with them and cultivate their Krishna consciousness. So this is the life of a brahmachari. Brahmachari is not thinking becoming rich, he's not thinking buying a house or buying a car or anything. He's just simply thinking of going and preaching and giving Krishna consciousness to people. Don't have any other interest but to tell people about Krishna. So traveling around and distributing sometimes books, meeting different people, this is a nice lifestyle for the brahmachari. It keeps him detached and it gives him an opportunity to see the material world and to see what kind of problems people face in their material life. Often when we live in the temple, if we just stay in the temple all the time, we're not so much aware of the difficulties which are there in the material world. How people are working hard and how they have to maintain jobs and how they have to maintain their families and children and so many different things which come up in the course of material life. But at the same time, they're devotees and they want to be Krishna conscious. So it's important for us to encourage them and try to give them nice association, having nice programs with them. And nowadays, of course, we do also use the technology which is available. Srila Prabhupada was not against us using technology, and just like nowadays we have things like the internet and we have Zoom, and you can have classes like that, groups of people together, and this way we're able to share Krishna consciousness with them regularly. Of course, we'd prefer to have actual physical association rather than just telecommunication. Because when you communicate with people on the internet and so on, you don't actually get the full grasp of the situation. We cannot actually see how much the person is trying to be Krishna conscious. We see, well, we just hear a few words from them, but it's difficult for us to appreciate fully their situation, and they may not reveal everything to us. Sometimes even we get people, they're listening to classes online, but at the same time they're not following the regulated principles. Sometimes they smoke cigarettes, and sometimes they're doing other kinds of activities which are not encouraged in Krishna consciousness. But when you have the opportunity to actually be with them physically, then you can understand more their situation and what's going on in their life. So brahmacharis, we have that duty to travel around and go and meet the people and try to introduce them to Krishna consciousness. There's a lot to be done. We know Maharashtra is a big state. You have a lot of people, a lot of towns and villages, and there's a lot of places you can go to preach. How many temples do we have in Maharashtra now? Huh?
15, 12 to 15.
Huh?
12 to 15, 1-5.
15 to 20. Okay, not bad. I was in Orissa. In Orissa, they told me they have more than 40 centers. And in Bengal, they have more. In Bangladesh, of course, Bangladesh, they have more than 100.
This is established temples. Speaking established where deities are installed.
And Maharashtra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Teaching center, I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, it's certainly good, whatever is there. We've established temples and hopefully they'll continue to grow. In the beginning, you have the center, small center, and the people come more and more. We hope gradually one day they'll have the bigger center. And certainly that's what's happened in Orissa and Bengal, that they've been developing, and they get more and more people, and they get a bigger place. So things grow. Krishna consciousness is dynamic, right? It's not static. It's a dynamic situation. Where there is Krishna consciousness, then certainly things should develop more and more. And one of the main things which help things to develop is the visitors, the devotees, the brahmacharis and sannyasis coming to visit and being there and giving classes and associating with them and training them, showing them what to do and what not to do. So this kind of training is very important for people, and we want to be willing to make that sacrifice. Certainly, it's nice to stay in the temple and be in the temple and just chant and see the deities every day, beautiful, Sri Sri Radha Madan Gopal and Lalita and Vishaka. But it's also very important for us to reach out, to go out and to meet the devotees who are not so fortunate, who are not able to come to temples and like that. So we do care, right? This is our duty to reach out, and give Krishna consciousness in whatever way we can. So Lord Krishna certainly reciprocates when he sees our sincere efforts. Then Lord Krishna will send sincere people to hear and to associate with. Okay, are there any questions? Let me see. Do you have any questions or problems? Anybody? Anything you wanted to ask or you wanted to hear about? Yes, Prabhu.
Maharaj, when we are in ashram, so how we can be free from the envious thought of this, like seeing the success of others? So how we don't have any comparative mentality in the ashram?
Don't be envious. Well, we have to understand everything philosophically. We have to control the mind. Maybe we envy someone because they have something which we desire. Maybe they have a position or they have some facility which we would like. So in this way, we think, oh, he's got something I don't have. But we have to understand all of these things are temporary. Whatever we have, whatever a person's got, it's temporary. This is the material world. And we shouldn't be bewildered by envy, oh, somebody's got this and I don't, No, we don't. We accept that it's the grace of Krishna. Someone's been given some facility. Somehow Krishna must be encouraging them. And Krishna's not giving me that facility. Oh, Krishna's testing me, wants to see how sincere I am or how genuine I am in my practice of Krishna consciousness. We have to think like that. We have to think philosophically. We have to train the mind to analyze everything. Thoughts are coming in our mind, like envy or something, jealousy of another. We have to understand that this is not good, that this is my own fault, this is my anatta, and we should want to remove it. And we can remove it just simply by philosophical understanding, simply by appreciating that these things are all temporary. You know, you get some things that how long you can keep it for. So actually, devotees grateful that he doesn't have these kind of things. They are so fortunate. Krishna didn't give me any of these things. He didn't give me any of these big positions. Not people who have the big positions all the time. They have to go to meetings, and they have to have time to sit and hear all of these different things. So it's actually not an easy thing. And we should be lucky that we don't have these things, that I'm lucky Krishna let me free, give me more time to hear and chant. And they're so busy doing meetings and managing and different things. Oh my goodness, it's such a headache. And we should think we're very lucky that we can just absorb ourselves in hearing and chanting. And we don't have to worry about all the management. Let some other people take care of it. And we are simply there to serve. And we're the servants. So in this way, we have to think. In this way, you have to analyze the situation and understand, why am I envious? What have they got? Is it really something I want? And sometimes you think, people, maybe as brahmacharis you think, if I was married it would be maybe nice, but then you see the problems which people face in their family life, having to take care of the wife and keep the wife happy, and at the same time children may come and then you have to look after the children. So many things are there. It's not very easy at all to go through all of these different things, different issues. So we often say the people who are outside, they're trying to get in, and the people who are inside, they're trying to get out. You see? This is the thing, that nobody's actually happy in any situation in the material world. So we just accept whatever happens by the grace of Lord Krishna, that he's put me here into this position. Just let me make the best of it to engage myself in Krishna's service by hearing and chanting. The real goal of life is to develop a love for Krishna. We shouldn't be bewildered by the material things. Oh, I would like this, oh, I want that, These different material facilities, they do not make us happy. They simply bring us more problems, more anxiety, more attachments, and the attachment for the material is not good. We want to become attached to Krishna. So we want to develop the attachment to hearing and chanting. So Brahmachari life is an opportunity for that, to simply devote ourselves more in hearing and chanting and studying Srila Prabhupada's books. And going somewhere places to preach, to give Krishna consciousness. We don't want to just think of our own comfort but we want to think about other people. So we think about Srila Prabhupada, how he could go to the USA with no money. He didn't know anybody. So it takes a lot of courage to do that, to go there. But that is required. Brahmacharis and sannyasis, they need to have that kind of conviction that they're ready to accept difficulties in the course of serving Krishna. So, devotee doesn't mind some difficulties, some problems which come, some hardships, some austerity. Devotee willing to accept these things for Krishna's service. So there's so much to be done, so much can be done. We just have to be an instrument in the service of Krishna. And Krishna can give facility. He sends us, he's brought us here to Krishna consciousness. Now we have to take advantage of the position which we have to be devotees and to be brahmacharya. And you have that freedom that you can go out, you can devote your time to preaching, cultivating people in Krishna consciousness. Right? Preaching means to make friends. We want to make friends with people and bring them into Krishna consciousness. There's a lot of lonely people in the world. They're lonely. They're looking for some friendship. So certainly they don't just want somebody who's coming to take some money from them, sell them a book, but they want some genuine friendship, somebody who actually cares about them and who wants to help them and encourage them in Krishna consciousness. So this is the hallmark of a devotee, that he is a friend of all living entities. And we try our best to give them some Krishna consciousness, teaching them how to chant the holy name, how to worship Krishna, how to offer food to Krishna, how to make a little altar, these kind of things. So we have to try and make contact with people, and once we make contacts, we want to continue to keep that contact, to continue to cultivate them and call them up or whatever, meet them again and again and encourage them in Krishna consciousness. There are so many people waiting to be devotees. They're just waiting for us to come there and find them. So this is our duty. Prabhupada said one person can go, take the kartals and the mridanga, and so he's playing the kartals, somebody else will come along, they'll pick up mridanga and play the mridanga, and then gradually the kirtan will grow. More and more people come and join the kirtan. So Prabhupada did like that in New York. He would go and chant in the park, and people would come and join him, take part in the chanting. Okay, so we have something like envy or some feelings about some others, We have to control the mind. We have to guard against that tendency to, look at other people in a negative way. Rather, we should appreciate them, that, it's really good. They're taking on this responsibility. And I can have more time for my chanting and hearing and preaching, and they're going to do more the management or They'll do more of the organizing of the ashram, the preaching. So coming together with the devotees, living together, it's important that we have nice relationships with each other. We appreciate each other. We want to keep them with us, stay with us, and become nice lifetime friends in Krishna consciousness. Just like when I joined the Krishna consciousness movement, there were people like Mahavishnu and Subhag. So, they were the devotees, they were the other people were there as well, but they were very nice devotees. They were very inspiring. I think these devotees, they attracted me to become a Krishna conscious devotee, that I was impressed by them. I saw them and I saw how they were serving Lord Krishna, and I saw how they were dedicated, and I thought, I want to follow their example. And I'm still trying to follow their example. So Mahavishnu Swami, Subhag Swami, I'm trying to follow their example, how they travel and preach, distribute Krishna consciousness everywhere. So initially we were together in London, in the ashram. We were living together. We did not have any real means of support. We were renting the house and we had practically no income. Somehow we would beg food in the market. We'd go to the market and some different vendors would donate things to us. Usually they donate only some turnip and cabbage, these kind of things, So this way we were living. We were living simply, honestly, and every day we go out on Sankirtan and try to distribute some book. We had some Back to Godhead magazines, and we would try to distribute them. And we had also, they had printed the first volume of the Krishna book. So we had some boxes of Krishna book, and we were distributing them. But we were struggling from day to day. It was not easy. But somehow we continued. We continued to survive. And then, of course, George Harrison comes along and he donates the Bhaktivedanta Manor. And well, that was a big job, to maintain that place. We didn't really have income, but somehow devotees managed to maintain, and people came and more people started helping. And it's still going on. Well, when I first became a devotee, I thought, I don't know how long this can last, because everything was so insecure, there was no basis to it. There was no financial support, and just to maintain the temple was quite difficult. But somehow we continued. When we had Radha Landaneshwara, we were worshipping the deities. We were only a few devotees. There were 20 devotees maybe. And we were all brahmacharis except for 2 women. One was French and one was American. And the others, all the men, we were mostly from the UK, although some did come from America. And we were happy together, living together, sharing everything, and working in the service of Krishna. And we kept up the spiritual program, although we were not doing well. We had a lot of deaths, but we kept up our spiritual program, trying to maintain everything, and we celebrated festivals, and gradually people started to come more and more, and people were joining more and more. And it was amazing. Okay, any question?
What was the one thing which is more you liked in Prabhupada's mission?
The one thing?
Which is you like more, like you have a heart for the Prabhupada's mission.
Prasadam. Yeah, I like prasadam a lot. Prasadam, very important. One time Prabhupada sat and he was pointing to different, he said, you became a devotee because of prasadam. You became a devotee, and you went through everybody and you all became devotees because of prasadam. So prasadam was very important. And in Prabhupada's time, we did prepare very nice prasadam. Prabhupada taught us different preparations, and we would try to make them. During the week, we lived simply. The morning, we'd have cereal with some little piece of fruit, usually an orange, cut into pieces, and then there'd be some chickpeas or chana, you know.
Yeah.
So that would be breakfast. Cereal with some fruit and some chickpeas. And then lunch would have rice, dal, chapati, and little sabji. And once a week there'd be the feast, Sunday feast. And if we were hungry, we could eat more rice and dal. And this way we were living. And then I was satisfied, I was enjoying, I thought very nice. Devotees, usually, we come out from material life and we're very irregular in our habits. And, as a student, you don't eat regularly and you don't get very nourishing meals. But becoming a devotee, I was finding the food to be very nice, the diet to be very satisfying. And it was nice to be regular. The whole spiritual program was very nice. Waking up early in the morning, bathing, and then going to the Mongol Arti, these different things. It was very, very nice program spiritually, very nourishing. So I know a lot of devotees, they benefited so much, sometimes they came from very difficult backgrounds and then they become devotees and their whole life changes. So I like very much prasadam. I liked also kirtan. Kirtan is very important. We need to have lots of kirtan. Your kirtans here are very nice. Play madanga very nicely. Devotees are very expert in playing madanga. So kirtan is very important for us. We need to have kirtan to associate with the holy name, hearing and chanting. We get nice kirtan, keeps us in Krishna consciousness. Just like nice prasadam keeps us in Krishna consciousness, so similarly kirtan also. We have a nice kirtan, certainly we will never go far away from Krishna consciousness. So association with the devotees is also very important. It was very inspiring to see different devotees when I was a devotee in London, I remember sometimes people would come through the temple. They come from foreign countries, they come from the Far East. And I would hear that, oh, this devotee, he went to Australia and he opened a temple. And this devotee, he went to Hong Kong and he opened a temple there. And I would be like, wow, ooh, really amazing. You know, I thought, how nice that they did so much pioneering work for the service of Srila Prabhupada. And I was inspired. I also wanted to do something like that. So Srila Prabhupada at one point, he wanted more devotees to come to India because we were not recruiting many people in India. The local people had not yet started joining the movement. So Srila Prabhupada saw that we were many young men in London. So he said, some of you men, you should come to India. Because he said, British people at that time coming to India, they did not need a visa. You see, so we could come to India and stay for a long time. But at that time it was difficult for American people to get a visa. There was some tension between India and America, so it was difficult for the Americans to get visas. So, but Prabhupada saw we were many young people in London, and he said, send them to India. Because then we go to India, we could help with the deity worship, we could help with the life membership program, and do different things to help to maintain the centers. So like that, we came to India to service. And gradually, the local people started to join. When they saw that we were serious and that the temples were maintaining, then they also wanted to join. They also wanted to become devotees. And you can see now we have so many Indian devotees. So I think Prabhupada is pleased to see all of you here, how you're dedicating your time, your lives for Krishna's service. Prabhupada certainly wanted the local people to join the movement. And initially in Vrindavan, especially, we were all foreigners. And they called it the temple, the Angrezi Mandir. You see? But not now. Those days have gone. You see? So we had to come and get help to get started. And once it gets going, then the local people also come in, they want to, and then the whole thing builds up more and more. Prabhupada called it the snowball effect. Alright? And if you have a ball of snow and you roll the ball gets bigger and bigger. So like that, Krishna consciousness, we begin with just a few people, and then gradually more and more people come. Hundreds and hundreds of people. And hundreds of people become thousands of people. And thousands of people become lakhs and lakhs of people. Like that, there's no limit. The sky is the limit. Having nice, wonderful temples. We can see Delhi, they have so many nice temples, big temples built there under this Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami. They built wonderful temples, many devotees there, big congregation. And similarly also in Calcutta now, they have a nice temples. Several temples have opened up in different cities. I was in Trivandrum. In Trivandrum, Jagat Shakti Prabhu has 18 centers around Trivandrum. The centers are like something like a church, They open one day a week, have a program on Sunday, people come. And like that, they're able to establish a nice congregation of people. So making a center doesn't mean immediately you'll have a lot of people, but if you maintain a regular program, then gradually more and more people come, and you can develop a nice center. Just like in Calcutta, we were staying there in Albert Road, the original center in Calcutta, and we were renting it. But over the years, we managed to purchase it, and not only did we purchase the center, which is upstairs, but we purchased the house downstairs also. Then you have a restaurant there now. And we have a lot of devotees living there. And then, of course, they built the guest house at the back. And guest house was constructed by the devotees. Initially, we only had one toilet there. And there was no facility. When Prabhupada would come, Prabhupada would be given the only toilet, and we would all go and bathe in the pakur across the street. So like that we were living, but it was joyful, blissful. Devotees, we don't mind these things. This is the life of devotees, We don't mind the hardships or little difficulties. We know it's temporary. If you go now, there's nice facilities there now, Calcutta. We put in a lot more toilets, a lot more showers and so on. So devotees can live comfortably, they can have their showers and so on, just nicely provided for. Even we used to sleep on the temple floor in Calcutta, and sometimes the rats would come and they bite your toe. And they say the rats in Calcutta, they're very expert. When they bite the toe, at the same time they breathe on it so that you don't know they're biting your toe. And before you know it, they bite the toe off. You miss one toe. So, we had these kind of situations, Calcutta and rats and things. But it's all part of the experience, the lifestyle of the devotee. We want to do something for Krishna. We cannot expect to get so many conditions and things we want. Some people would come from the USA, they would come to India, and they would take one look at India, they go back the next day. They just could not, because 1970s India was really quite difficult. There was no facilities. The devotees they were dreaming, they were thinking, go to India, we will, land of great yogis and so on. But there's a lot of other things there in India. So we try. Anyway, people learn, and sometimes people are just too sentimental and optimistic. What they expect and what you get is something else, you see. We have to be willing to adjust and to accept everything is the arrangement of Krishna. So here in Nashik, you have a nice temple and you're planning to build a bigger temple. When I look at the temple, I think, wow, it's such a nice temple, But you want to build a bigger temple. So, good luck. I hope you can get the money and do it, Take some time. Krishna wants, Prabhupada said, if Krishna wants, he can give you the whole world. Just like the Pandavas, they had nothing, but 18 days after Kurukshetra war, they ruled the world. So Prabhupada said we have to be part of Krishna's 18-day plan. And Krishna can give you the whole world if we're ready to use it. Okay. Anything else? Yes, Prabhupada?
What are the precautions we can take while preaching? You have experience. What are the main precautions one should take while preaching so that it may not affect our devotional consciousness in a negative manner?
Precautions?
Precautions while preaching.
While preaching.
What precautions should a preacher take while preaching?
Well, the main precaution is that you want to keep yourself in association with devotees. You don't want to become independent and go away from other devotees. When you go for preaching, you shouldn't go alone. You should go with other people. And you should try to remain close with other people, other devotees. That's important. If you feel that, no, I don't want to be with this person, then that's not very good. We have to be in association with devotees. Of course, you want to be careful about how you preach. You want to preach according to the Shastra. Don't concoct anything. Don't invent anything. Whatever we're saying, it should be according to Sadhu, Shastra and Guru. It should be proper philosophy, as you have heard from the senior Vaishnavas. You don't want to be speculating. And we want to also be careful about the opposite sex, associating with the opposite sex. We can preach to them, but we don't want to get too friendly with them. You can preach to the ladies, the girls and so on, they're coming. You can talk to them and encourage them in Krishna consciousness. We encourage them to chant Hare Krishna. But at the same time, we're careful about becoming too friendly with them and developing intimate relationships. So these kind of things you want to be careful about. Is that all right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anything else? There's always dangers in Krishna consciousness anyway, right? We think devotional service is like the razor's edge. We're going along the edge of the razor. So one slip and you get cut, and then it's difficult to stop bleeding. So we do need to be careful in practicing Krishna consciousness. It's a fine line. So, very important for us to hold on to the association of devotees, senior people, people who you are close with, you can be with. That's important for us. That will protect us from the dangers. Dangers can also come from people like family members, the relatives and family, these kind of people. They will often sometimes come and try to take us out of Krishna consciousness. I know especially in India, the parents are very attached to their children, and when they see the child becoming devotee, they may not be so happy about it, and they may try to take you away, try to bring you out of Krishna consciousness. So we have to be a little careful about these things. One devotee explained, he said, if the parents want to see me, he said, I let them come to the temple. He said, I don't go home. Because he said, if you go home, then it's very entangling, material life again. Nothing very spiritual going on at home. But if they come to the temple, they can get a good impression. They can see the deities, they can meet devotees, so on. So rather than going to them, get them to come to you. You see, they want to see you, and so you tell, I'm here in the temple, you come. Come and see me. Like that. Family members, relatives, so-called friends, friends from the material world. Now they will always try to bring you out from Krishna consciousness. Oh, come on, we need you in the cricket team, Like that. Why are you doing this? Not everyone can understand the lifestyle of the devotee. It takes a special blessing to be able to appreciate the opportunity which is given to be a devotee and to cultivate Krishna consciousness. Yes?
Any interaction with Mahavishnu Maharaj or Subhash Maharaj or Prabhupada?
Well, interaction with them, yeah. What happened one point when I came to India, Mahavishnu Maharaj, he was here, he was a Bramachari at that time, and he was working with the BBT library party, and so I also joined the library party, and I travelled with him. And we travelled around India. We had a matador jeep, and we would fill the jeep with books. We had managed to import different volumes of Srimad Bhagavatam, some volumes of Chaitanya Charitamrita, and we would go and show them to the schools and the colleges and different libraries, and we would get them to take orders, to give orders for sets of books. And whatever books we had, we would sell them, and they would pay for them. And they were happy to get some of our books. And after we put some of the books in, then we'd follow up, and we'd ask them, now more books are available, can we send them to you? And like that. And this way we were distributing books to places all over India. We were travelling all around India, all the way down south. There were no centres, nothing there. But we were travelling around, and we would go and get people to give orders. Take what we called a standing order for the set of Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita. We did not have so many books, but whatever books we had, we would sell them, get some money from, get people to put the colleges, the schools, they'd pay for them. And usually when we would go there to the college, they would ask us to give a talk, to address all the students, you know. And they would bring all the students and the teachers, they would all come. And we would talk to them and we'd tell them, chant Hare Krishna. And they would say, oh, you know, when you're more advanced, you'll understand everything is one. You know, mostly they're Mayavadis, you know. The influence of Shankaracharya, very strong. But it was good. They saw us coming and they were happy. They said it's very nice for the students to see how you dedicate your life, shave your heads and wear dhoti and then preach Krishna consciousness. It was impressive to them. They liked it. And out of their feeling for us, they would purchase the books. I'm sure if you go to some of these colleges today, you may find copies of the books are there in their libraries. So I was doing like that. Subhag Swami, he came to London. What happened was, when he was a young man, his family sent him to the UK. His family sent him to the UK because they saw he was associating a lot with sadhus. And they didn't want him to become a sadhu. You know? He was spending time, I think, maybe with Ramakrishna Mission or something like that. So they thought, we'll send him to England and he can get education there, get away from all these things. So he came to London, and when he got to London, he met the devotees, and immediately he moved in the temple, and lived in the temple. Very, very wonderful devotee. He'd go out on Sankirtan every day. I was surprised when I first went to the temple. I saw, I said, he's an Indian. I thought even the Indians are joining this. You know, because everyone else was a Westerner, you know. he was the only Indian. But he joined. So I was, wow, even the Indians are becoming devout. And he stayed there, and then of course Prabhupada told him, come to India and help in India, the preaching. So he's Bengali, he's preaching there. He went to Bangladesh also, went to Bangladesh and suffered a lot of hardships there. Even they got put in jail at one point, different things. So this was the pioneering days of Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada always understood that in the future there would be more people and bigger temples, more devotees, everything would grow. So Srila Prabhupada was very concerned that we kept the standards. He liked to check on everything. He would always want to check, make sure, have a look at the accounts. Are you keeping the accounts properly? We would check on the quality of the prasadam. Right? Prasadam. One day, I remember the Prabhupada said, bring me the fruit plate. Every afternoon we would offer fruits to the deity. He said, bring me the fruits, I want to see what you're offering to the deity. And so brought the fruit plate to Prabhupada after the offering, and Prabhupada said, who has purchased this fruit? So the devotee said, oh, it was purchased by Debu. Debu was one Bengali man who was coming to temple, and we thought he's a local man, he will get a better price for the fruit, because we would often get cheated. So anyway, Debu had bought the fruit, so we told Prabhupada, Debu purchased. So Prabhupada said, tell Debu, come and see me. So Debu went to see Prabhupada, and Prabhupada said to him, he said, you are Bengali and you don't know how to buy fruit? So Prabhupada pointed out what he expected, that you buy things for the deities, you don't just buy any garbage, you should get good things for the deity. Must be quality fruits. So Prabhupada was particular about these things. You can see in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it describes about Raghava Pandit living in Panihati, and how he would offer coconuts and different fruits, and he would go to great endeavors, he would go far away to bring the most tasty, the best fruits to offer to the deity. So Prabhupada also wanted that we would offer good things to the deity, not just any fruit. He wanted it should be nice quality. And similarly, flowers, the flower garlands offered to the deities had to be fresh, shouldn't be old, should be nice. They should be fragrant. If you have flowers but no fragrance, then it's not very good. It's like a man. Some men, they may be good looking, but they have very poor qualities, very bad qualities. So similarly, flowers, they may look very nice, but if they have no smell, then it's not very good. You want flowers which are both aromatic as well as pleasing to look at. So Prabhupada had these different standards, what he wanted. Another thing Prabhupada wanted was kirtan. He said, you have to have madanga. One day I was in Vrindavan temple at lunchtime, and came time to arti, and so there were very few people in the temple at that time. Anyway, I picked up the kartals and I began to sing some kirtan during the arti. And after a few minutes, Prabhupada's secretary came out from his room. And Prabhupada's secretary said, Prabhupada wants to know, why is no one playing madanga? Prabhupada was not in the temple room, he was sitting in his own room behind the temple. But he could not hear madanga. And Prabhupada said, whenever there's kirtan, must also be madanga. So if you play kartals, you must also have madanga played too, very important. Like this Prabhupada standards, what he wanted, everything, very, very high standards. Okay, what's the time?
5:15.
Okay, we have to stop then. Okay, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Dr. Saraswati. Okay.
Param Puji Bhakti Vinod Singh from Maharaj
Ki jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.